welcome to Be the Hero with Kelly Fullman and my new friend, Claude Madembe. And I hope I did not torture your name, but I'm so excited to have Claude on Be the Hero and Rescue Yourself, which is an opportunity for me to interview heroes that I have met either in my personal or professional life or even on social media, people that are trying to make a difference in other people's lives. But first they had to become their very own hero so they could then go out and create and be other folks' heroes and create more heroes out there in the world. Because we've had a rough kind of last couple of years. So we need a few more heroes in the world. So I found Claude through social media, and we'll talk a little bit about how we met. But her program today is going to be about dyslexia. And I can't believe that I haven't done a program about dyslexia yet, since I talk a lot about it in my book and on my social media platforms. So let's just dive right into it. Claude, it's so great to meet you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how we met.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello. Good morning, good evening. So yeah, no, Kelly, I really appreciate it. And we scroll we scroll continuously online, and you get all these things coming at you from different angles, but sometimes you just have that one person or the video or the post or the quote that kind of stops you in your tracks. And yours were kind of doing that for me for a while. I was just like, who's this lady? And these are coming in from her TikTok account, and you start looking at people's lives, and you see that you got a son that loves racing and that used to be a bodybuilder, and that to me is already like, oh, okay, this lady's got it going on. You can't F with Fullman. And so just following your account, and then we started having conversations and comments, and jumping into the dyslexia world very late, or very recently. I don't want to say late in life because I still got a ways to go.
Yeah.
But jumping into the dyslexia world, very recently, within the last 2 or 3 years. The first part of it was just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. What does this mean? How has this showed up in my life? And what do I do now that I know this?
Yeah.
So, those first few weeks were a lot of research, a lot of trying to figure out what this meant, what to do. But as soon as I got the assessment, I went to Instagram and just typed in dyslexia and just started spending time scrolling. And that's how we met. A few conversations, and then you were gracious enough to be like, hey, I want to interview on my podcast. And I was like, what? Yeah. And not only that, I did notice that you've got a ton of videos, but you haven't been on there in a while. So I appreciate me being the impetus for you getting your groove back. So thank you so much.
You're right, getting my groove back. Hey, yeah, it's been a minute. Life gets crazy, and you get the corporate job that you had been wanting for for 2 years that you've been laid off, or that I've been laid off. And then you kind of just lay your personal things aside for a little bit. But yeah, you sparked the fire back in me. So I'm so excited to have you as my spark that builds the flame from here on out. I appreciate it.
I appreciate that. And with you and a lot of the same people that we follow, there's a very good community on there, and there are a lot of people approaching this from different angles, and that was really my thing, though. When I got my assessment, and I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got that assessment, I had to, prior to getting the assessment, I was just doing the research, Google videos, freaking out, being like, oh, damn, no wonder, right? No wonder I'm the way that I've been. And it squashed a lot of stuff. Yeah. But as I started getting into Instagram and some of YouTube, but mostly Instagram, I just really started noticing the tenor of the conversations were all very similar. And as I was diving deeper into it, and actually spending time with some people in the marketing world, and learning how to level up in life and add a little flavor to what you've been doing, or do a 180. Both of those events seem to have coincided. And I was just like, what if I start to create content about dyslexia and, kind of infuse some of my history in it? And, I hadn't really been that personal in my life. And as people with dyslexia, a lot of times we tend to hide in plain sight.
Yep.
So just even getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna say some stuff I don't tell people in person, you had to learn a bunch of strangers, but the more you do it, the more you get used to it. And once you start getting people identifying with the message or a comment or a post or your approach to it, you're like, all right, there's something here.
The
And
vulnerability is big, right?
yeah,
Is being vulnerable enough, because when we're younger, and like, let's think back, because we were younger, they didn't label dyslexia. I mean, no one was testing for it, no one was looking for it. So talk to me a little bit about some of the struggles that you had in school and trying to get through your reading, your sciences, and your math. And what do those struggles look like? And sometimes they're different for girls and boys, but talk to me about what you struggled with the most and some of the signs, now that you know some of the signs that you can kind of help moms, dads, and even other adults kind of pick out and see if they need to get some help or some support on that end in the world of dyslexia.
Yeah. And like you said perfectly, it's, I'm just turned 50. So, same generation. And I didn't even hear the word dyslexia. I'm guessing it was probably in my 20s or my 30s. And I, like most people, thought it was just people can't spell, they can't read. And I didn't know about all this other stuff. But, having grown up in Africa and moved to the US with my immediate family when I was 8 years old. So that was like 1980, 1981. The whole being in America thing was a brand new bag. So, going in school, having somebody that worked with me one-on-one in the back of the classroom, and I was an outcast from the get-go.
Yeah.
And I didn't speak the language. But as a kid, you pick things up pretty quick. But as the years kind of started to go by, like, 7th, 8th grade here in the US is like junior high, getting into high school, I started feeling like there was, there was a component missing. And I was learning, but I wasn't internalizing it, right? It was just kind of like lessons would just be skimming the surface.
Yep.
And I started figuring out ways to pretend I got it by isolating, whether it's a sentence or a keyword or a minor concept that tells somebody that, okay, this guy just figured it out, right? And
or
so
dyslexics are just great bullshitters.
Yeah.
We learned at a very young age.
Yeah. So, you just faking it. And like I said, hide in plain sight, but come test time, you can't hide under the desk during test time. And that's when that's when the bullet hit the bone. And the conversation that I had for years was, dude's smart. He just needs to work harder and he just needs to apply himself. And I know a lot of people have that trauma from way back about, being bullied or being verbally assaulted or worse. And I'm lucky in the sense that I didn't really get those that verbal assault, but the lack of success and grades that tell you that you are a capable human being, because everything is measured by that, A through F.
Yep.
Well, you get enough bad ones, you're like, okay, well, I'm a dumbass.
Yeah, I'm not meant to be. So
Yeah.
I got lucky on the side that I had amazing parents that never told me I was dumb, but I had educators and kids. So I went through the verbal assault. I went through, Kelly can't read, getting made fun of, looking not like, don't make eye contact with the teacher at reading time, because then they're going to make you read in front of the class. And that is traumatizing enough.
Head down.
It's like, don't make eye contact, don't
Oh
make eye
yeah,
contact.
that's
You just,
yeah,
and it's traumatizing. And as I was going to counseling, as I got older, I had a hard time as an adult taking in feedback from my husband, from my boss and my leaders, because I felt like it was a personal attack because of my past.
yeah,
Because you're stupid, you're dumb, you're nothing, you can't do this. And so when I had feedback from a boss, even though it was feedback to make me better, I would still take it so personally, and it would like ruin me almost
yeah,
to where I felt like I was like, well, damn, they think I'm dumb or they think I can't do my job. No, that wasn't it. And so working with a counselor really helped identify that I'm not the little girl in the corner with her fists up, people calling her stupid and dumb. I have bosses that really love me and want my best interest. I just have to learn how to take that feedback and not take it
yeah,
personally.
yeah. That's huge, man. It's just like always playing defense.
Right.
You
Right.
know, be like, it's like work meetings, whether they be conference calls or in persons. And I would try to be prepared for them, but like you said, any left-handed comment that would even hint at an inkling of ineptitude, I was, and it was like, and in those moments, not only are you feeling attacked, but you counterattack, and the person's like, dude, what's up?
Yeah.
What are you freaking out about, right?
Right.
So you're just compounding the situation.
Yep.
And yeah, I totally relate to that.
So you graduated from high school, which I think it's so cool, you coming over here from Africa and having to make that adjustment of English being, and English is not easy in the first place, much less for English as a second language. And then on top of that, dyslexia. So you got out of high school. What happened? What was that path that kind of brought you to where you are today? What did that look like? Because sometimes we struggle to find out where we belong in this world, especially careers, because dyslexics can't figure out where they fit, or leaders or bosses don't know how to help them and support them. So what was that path for you?
Yeah, I remember sitting at the kitchen counter table. I guess it must have been late '80s, and my both of my parents were educators, so the IQ factors are up there, and my brother is got that IQ factor as well. So that's having that type of family, and then struggling on top of that, just again the compound fractures. But
Mhm.
sitting at that kitchen table and looking at colleges, and at this point, I figured out, okay, I didn't know about dyslexia, but I knew that I couldn't do these things well. And there was, no matter how hard I tried, you get the homework, and you can do the homework in class. You get home, it's like
Right.
reading Cantonese.
Mhm.
So sitting at the table, looking at colleges, trying to write my essays, and ended up simply applying to colleges that did not require math or science to get in or to graduate, and ended up applying to 5 schools. Got into a few of them, maybe two or three, and they were Quaker schools, which just kind of fit my mentality and my vibe, because I'd been to a Quaker high school after being to a Catholic school. So the whole, like, you know, people being equal, it's all about the person, it's all about the learning, it's all about growth. Did college, took me 5 years to get in and out of there. But sitting in, I think it was in a bar with my brother. He was visiting from San Francisco, and he was like, "So, dude, like, what's he was like, just
When?
he was climbing,
Mhm.
at the perfect pace." And
Mhm.
he's like, "Dude, what are you thinking? What happens after college?" And I had not given myself permission to dream, because I didn't think I deserved a dream. And it's like, if I can't even do this, like, what gives me the right to think about something bigger? But luckily, I'd gotten into making art while at college. So I was like, okay, well, there's something I can do. I know it's probably going to be a broke life, but hey, it's
But I'm
something I
good
can
at it.
do.
It's something.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
so I followed the art passion. I followed, making pottery for about 7 to 8 years in Seattle, Washington. A lot of part-time jobs, grunt work, nothing that even showed that I was a dude that went to college. And this whole time, I'm down here, right? And I can't take a compliment because I don't believe I deserve one. And I'm still living in that state of mind where I am not capable of doing anything. I will never be greater than the thing that I'm doing, which isn't all that great to begin with. So, I lived in that state for, I don't know, over 10 years, 10 to 15 years. And
That's a revelation. I mean,
yeah, it
there are
was
some kids out there and adults that's huge. Like I never gave myself permission to dream bigger because
right.
I never thought I could, because here I am down at the bottom and this is where I'm going to stay.
Yeah. I mean, your parents would tell you that you could be whatever you want to be, but if you can't believe it, and if you don't have the personal evidence, or
Mhm.
if you can't channel the personal evidence, then you're just stuck in that loop.
Yep.
And it took somebody to just shake me figuratively when I was bartending, and then being a door guy in this bar in San Francisco, and this dude walks into the bar. Hadn't seen him in about 12 to 13 years, this guy from college, and he keeps coming in week after week. He's got the sweet 3-piece suit, he's got a Porsche, he's just solid. And I mean,
Mhm.
I'm pretty embarrassed at this point. Like, we went to the same college, you're 2 years younger than me, you look like that. I'm serving drinks to alcoholics who are complaining about their wives during the afternoon on weekdays. And then on the weekends, I'm checking people's IDs. Like, that's my life. And again, that's what I deserved. That's what I thought I deserved. And I couldn't see anything bigger until he proposed about 2 to 3 months after him coming in. He's like, yo, come work for me in financial services. I will teach you everything that I know. And it was, it was terrifying experience, but I'm like,
Sure.
okay, this dude's got a Porsche, $1,000 suits. I'm serving drinks to alcoholics
I don't have
and
anything
checking
to lose
IDs.
at this point.
It's like,
Nothing.
so I jumped in, and I mentioned the suits in the car, and that's not the meaning of life. But
Right.
when you are down here, you're looking at that,
Yeah.
that looks like you're everything.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, man, this dude, he plucked me out of nothingness and gave me the opportunity to shine. And once I started getting into a rhythm, I started to outpace the people that had been doing the financial services work before me or longer than me. And that was the evidence.
There it is.
It's like just one switch,
Sure.
and it hasn't been, here to the moon since then, as far as life is perfect. But that single moment of your life, whether it comes from within or from an external source, that tells you or gives you a hint, a nudge that there is something more that is possible for you, even if you can't see it yet. You got to take those, because that's the only way that you shift into that, you shift out of that tunnel vision.
Yep.
And
It allowed you to dream. It allowed you
yeah,
to think bigger. Like there's an opportunity. Like here's a path that I can follow.
yeah, I mean, I
That's
was like,
awesome.
and although I didn't have some high level profession,
Right.
part of my mindset was like, I know what I know, and I believe that what I believe is a fact,
Mhm.
right? There's no disputing the fact that I'm so far below average, and I've already peaked. And it wasn't true.
Yeah.
I was, for somebody who thought they knew what was going on in their head, I was 100% wrong. 100% wrong.
Wow.
And I think about everybody else that thinks that they're 100% right
And they're
about their below averageness or their ineptitude, their stupidity, their lack of ambition, dreams, possibility, hope. And that's when I started, looking at the Instagram and finding you and seeing people. And I'm like, yo, if I feel this, if I felt that, there's over 7 billion people on this thing, there is got to be people who are in the space that I was.
Yep.
That it's like, I'm not gonna help you walk on water, but like maybe I can say something
Yep.
that will turn on that light switch, like my buddy did for me.
Plant the seed.
And that's the
It's
goal.
just plant the seed, plant the seed.
Yeah.
So tell me about, so you started doing research and you started looking into this thing called dyslexia, and the light bulb started going off. Because there's a lot of folks out there that don't have a couple of grand to go to a psychiatrist, or don't have the insurance to bring their kiddos or themselves to a psychiatrist and go get the official dyslexia tests. My parents end up having to pay for a test because the school district refused to. So
Right.
they didn't discover my dyslexia till my senior year in high school, but mine was way earlier than yours. And then, I struggled all through school, and then finally got the help I needed in college. And then I succeeded in college. So I had an admission advisor do the same thing for me. I walked in, my grade point average, to be quite honest, was a 2.1 grade point average from high school.
Yeah, sounds about right for me too.
My SAT scores were nothing to go home and brag about
Yeah,
at
I remember
all.
those. Yeah.
I think I just did good getting my name on there and answering a few questions. But this admissions advisor at my local university just saw something. And I explained to him what my struggles were and that I wanted to go to college. And he said, write an essay. He goes, I'll turn it in and talk to the dean. They accepted me at my local university, but I was on probation when they accepted me in, and I had to take remedial courses. So the first semester and a half of my college year, or years, first semester and a half, was all remedial courses. It didn't count towards a degree, just to help and support and get me in the swing of things.
Right.
And then I started, after I got in the hang of things and figured out how to study, and what worked with me, I was able to get off of probation. And both letters came in the mail at the same time. My letter of, I got on the dean's list for the first time in college, and then the letter that I was taken off of probation. Like those two came in together, which was a pretty exciting moment. And I ended up graduating from college with like a 3.4 grade point average.
Wow.
But I was in communications. I had the gift of gab.
Right.
Just,
served you right.
It did.
Yeah.
I always tell people I have a BS in communications. So yes,
Right.
I am full of shit. It's okay.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
But then I like that one moment, like that one person, my mom and dad believed in me, but it was mom and dad. They're supposed to believe in you.
Right. What do they know?
What do they know?
Yeah.
But that one human, that one person that saw something, that gave me a chance, so I guess that's what drove me to write my book, what drives me to continue these podcasts, and what drove you to where you are right now. So tell me a little bit about your Instagram page and a few other things that you're working on to help even adults our age that just feel kind of off. Like,
Yeah.
I feel the same way. The check boxes are there, everything that we're talking about, but what are some of the things that brought you here now? And what are some of the stuff that you're working on, and how you're supporting adults, even kiddos that have dyslexia as well?
Yeah. No, I mean, the 3-4 like GPA. No, because I had to go back and get my transcripts from my college, because when I first got the dyslexia bug, I almost felt like I was trying to make an excuse for all my hardships through life. Be like, oh, well, I suck because of this, that, and the other. So I hit up my college, and they sent me my transcripts within 24, 48 hours. And I was like, all right, 2.2. Okay. That's what I remember. I just wanted to make sure that I had my story straight. And to your point about people not being able to afford, here in the States, like 5 to 6 G's for an assess for a, the battery of tests with a neuropsychologist or psychologist. And I came up against that wall, and I'd done the research, and I was just like, that's a really steep price for me to pay, when I believe that based on the hours of research that I've done so far, I'm meeting, a lot of this criteria.
Mhm.
And it's, I didn't need it for work or for school. So I'm like, I'm gonna pay 5 to 6 G's for you to tell me something I already believe is true.
Mhm.
So I came across the people that I believe wrote the Bible on dyslexia, and that's the Dyslexic Advantage by Brock and Annette Eady.
Mhm.
And that book was, major revelations just throughout, a lot of highlighting. And at the end of it, they give you an opportunity to take an assessment that's super affordable. We're talking like less than a couple $100.
Mhm.
And you've read their books, so you know that they're legit. You Google them, you see their influence in the space. It's not your 3-minute Google search dyslexia test. And it
Right.
was, I'm sitting there doing it. I'm like, man, this is kid stuff. And, I'm poo-pooing the whole process. And then at the end, I did it on my phone. I signed up on the website, and there was a 36-page report split up into 2 sections. That was just crazy. It was just like, wow, holy shit, damn, no wonder. What
Wow.
the?
So even though you had done all the research and you felt like you checked the boxes, was it a little bit of a relief when you took the test
Oh,
and they
huge.
kind of said, yeah? Was it a
Yeah,
relief that you
yeah,
could?
yeah. I mean, I'm like, at the moment, I was like, all right, let me get a bullhorn, some confetti, let me turn up the internet and tell the world, no wonder my life went the way that it went.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I came back down. I was like, all right, chill.
Mhm.
But it answered so many different things and explained so many different things and helped me calm down on things that have transpired since then, because now I got a reason. And there's an answer, and it doesn't make me superhuman,
Right.
but it makes me whole
Yep.
and allows me to be like, oh yeah, that's that thing. It's kind of funny, right?
Yeah.
So it can be a punchline.
Mhm.
And but that assessment was gold. And in terms of what I'm doing right now, just based on finding that stuff and believing that if this is happening to me, there's got to be other people that are going through this, and other people that may be going through the same thing but have no idea why.
Why?
It's like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, how do you approach that from, from a content perspective, and then understanding that some people can't get through a page and other people can read a whole book but may not understand it, and everything in between.
Yep.
So, trying to thread that line. And I told myself that if I'm going to do this, then I got to do my research, but then I can only speak about things that I've been through. And if words are jumping off the page for you, then I've never experienced that. So I can't help you with that, or talk you through it, or guide you through it. But if it's about the, processing, if it's about self-esteem, if it's about understanding concepts, if it's about memory, confidence, believing in yourself, then I can talk about that. And so started the Instagram. I started a Facebook group. And, it's called Powered by Dyslexia. It's self-improvement for Lex adults. And it's just talking about the things that are in my wheelhouse. And some people are appreciating it. And that's crazy, because it was me sitting on the couch being like, what if? And that's turning into a course. So
Well,
yeah.
and the what if would have never happened if you weren't given the ability to dream bigger,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
that one person that gave you just that little fire, that little seed, that just one human that believed in you.
That's it.
So when it comes to believing in someone or believing in yourself, what are some of your top 2 tips for self-esteem for dyslexics, folks, kids, teenagers, even adults? What are some things that we could actually kind of do, 1 or 2 tips we can do now currently to try to give ourselves just that little bit of oomph, or, plant that seed for me, Claude, plant it.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
plant
absolutely. And I think, we're bombarded with externals, like 3 steps. I think I saw one of your blogs was like, there are no 10 steps to
it.
a perfect life.
There's not.
Why, what about 9.5?
I'm sorry. 9.5. But that
So
step is going to disappear at some point.
right. There goes the floor.
Right.
So, I think the first part of it is, instead of hoping for the external, is to look within and remember your past, right? Everybody has done something that surprised them. Everybody has done something that worked out. And it doesn't have to be building a skyscraper on the moon or launching an app or making $1 million. It could throw out that guy out. It could have been acing that test. It could have been doing college in the amount of time that you wanted to do it. It could have been getting that first job, nailing that interview. Something. You've done something in your life that you're like, damn, all right, I got that. Right? So tap back into that moment. Think about how you felt beforehand, because you were probably really scared, but you did it anyway, and you did the thing, and then you got a result that was positive. And again, it doesn't have to be, a skyscraper on the moon or making $1 million. It could be everything and anything in between. So tapping into your own success or your own wins, no matter how small, is a reminder that, hey, you can do things that you didn't think you could do before. And then second of all, pad that with being with people or in the community, or absorbing content as much as you can stand it, that's going to help lift you up. And none of us are ever going to be awesome all the time, or feel awesome all the time, or do awesome all the time. But if you are flooding your senses with stuff that forces you to question yourself and elevate you at the same time, it's not going to sink in every single time, but repetition is it's going to start to be ingrained in you, and you might start thinking in that sense. And then once those automatic negative thoughts turn to at least like, I suck, but I'm getting better, right? You're adding a little something.
Yep.
And the more you add those, the more they add up.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you do is not going to be an overnight sensation, but you have to make a decision to be like, okay, I don't want to feel this way anymore, and I might not feel amazing tomorrow, but I'm going to start doing the things that will help me feel amazing tomorrow and the days following.
That is amazing. And I can't tell you, my mom threw the most, and I can't find the magazine anywhere. I don't know where it is. I know it's stashed somewhere at my dad's house in the attic, but it was a Forbes magazine, and on the front of it, it said Dyslexic CEOs.
Yeah.
And my mom went and found it and threw that magazine in my room on my bed. And she was like, I don't care how long it takes, you read this.
Right.
And I was reading about all of these CEOs that started and built their own companies, and they were doing so well. Like one, she was an economist, and she could crunch numbers in the financial world like nobody's business. But she would go out to the parking lot in her garage and still forget where she parked her car every single time. And I'm like, holy shit. That article was pivotal, because it just made me think that there's people out there like me. So you're right. Holding on to those small wins, those baby wins, surrounding yourself with positive thoughts and positive information and positive people, but then also understanding and doing your research and knowing that there's other people, like you are building a community with the group and the social media. There's other people out there just
Yeah.
like us. We're not
Yeah,
alone. We're not
absolutely. And
alone.
one of the things that I included in the course is just a small section, but it's about role models, right?
Mhm.
Whether it's 1 in 5 or 1 in 20 that has dyslexia, there's somebody out there doing the thing that you want to do.
Yep.
Figure out who they are, listen to them, follow them, listen to their autobiography, read their biography, however you want to chop it up. But you have to do something. And I've been through phases in life where I wanted to do less than nothing,
Yep.
and I get what that feels like for a lot of different reasons.
Yep.
A lot of them are not pretty,
Yep.
but they happen.
Yep.
So, I'm sure you've seen it too. Like, no one's coming.
No one's coming.
Cue the music.
Sorry, no one's coming.
So,
Get your damn cape.
yeah, you gotta shake it, not break it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
for sure, yeah.
Well, Claude, this was an amazing conversation, and I hope that it helps one human being. This is what I said is with my podcast. I don't care if one person watches it or 100 million people watch it. If it helps and supports one human being to be able to have that little bit of faith in themselves, and know that there are people out there just like them, that have done it too. We may not be in these $1 million homes or driving that Ferrari with that 3-piece suit, but we're doing good and we're doing okay
Yeah,
and we're
yeah,
comfortable and we're happy.
absolutely, absolutely. And it's about, identifying your definition of success and working towards that.
That's it.
It's just about growing and learning and defining what success is to you. Because once you do that and you're learning, you're successful. You're doing the do.
You're doing the do. So tell me where we can find you, your Facebook group, and then also your Instagram and any other websites that you want us to go and look at and support you. And then also, anything else that you want to put out there for my followers and my friends.
Yeah, well, if y'all still here, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And Powered by Dyslexia, so that's the name of the Facebook group, and it's Powered by Dyslexia Self-Improvement for Lex Adults, because I don't know, I can't say dyslexia too many times in a row. It's just the ultimate tongue twister. And then Powered by Dyslexia is also the name of the Instagram account. So, find me there, ping me there. If you want to join the group, have a couple questions, read the about section, or just hit me up. But in the meantime, like, I can't say this enough, man. You gotta feed your brain with the good stuff. And one of the things that I've noticed in some of the Facebook groups that I'm in, or just online in general, is that there's a sentiment that you can't just think your way positive and have the thing work out. It's just like, it's not just thinking positive, but you have to start there in order to walk forward. And as you walk forward and take in that, positive content, follow your role models, tap into your own confidence from the past, and you start taking those mini actions, well, then you're not thinking positive, you're doing positive. So it's not just like, let's put on some pom-poms and hope for the best.
Right.
We got to get in the game.
Right. No, and you're right. It's let's practice. Let's, watch, have coaches, have that support, and then actually go out there and play the damn game.
Yeah.
And bust our asses doing it.
Yeah. And it's, it's not easy, man. It's not easy for the gurus. It's not easy for us. It's not easy for world leaders. No. We're all in the same game.
We are.
So.
And the more we can support each other and have these conversations and call each other out on the table when one of us is doing a pity party moment.
Yeah, plenty of those. You'll see mine next week.
We can call each other out on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been absolutely awesome. And like I said before, when you stop the scroll, you stop it for a reason, and that reason was you. And I appreciate you. So thank you.
Well, Claude, I'm going to have all of your information on this video. So inside of the comments in the about section for this video, and then also inside the video, I'll have all of your websites available so people can find you, get the support, get the love they need, but then also get the good kick in the ass they need to be able to move forward. But I appreciate you so much. And thank you for being
Thank
an
you.
amazing,
All right, Fullman.
amazing. I appreciate you.
All right, take care. Have a great weekend.
You too.
See y'all.
Bye.